The rush to excavate and preserve fossils and findings at the Dinosaur Discovery Quarry substation site came to a slow halt last month. This after news came that the city of St. George decided to relocate its power substation to a different location on the property.
There was a rumor floating around that they were going to change the location of the substation, and sure enough, that happened. We were kind of panicking towards the end and wanting to rip through the upper bone bed to move the rock away so we could process it later, but we kind of held off, and I'm actually glad that we did that now.
The relocation of the city's new power substation is right across the street from the Dinosaur Discovery Site Museum.
Right along, it's very close to the old location, but it's closer to the museum, so it's right along the edge of Riverside Drive.
The change will allow paleontologists and others more time to dig through the original substation quarry, where they've already discovered more than 1,000 remnants in this 201-million-year-old ancient lake bed.
We've inventoried over 1,100 specimens, including material that was collected from the rock pile. But the bone layers we have found, we have now 2 species of coelacanth fishes, which are lobefin fish. So they're more closely related to us than they are to things like trout and pike and things like that. We found 4 different kinds of dinosaur teeth. 2 of them are smaller varieties, different tooth shapes, and 2 large ones. So these are the kinds of things that will produce footprints that we find at elsewhere on the site, so especially here in the museum.
And so far, they've collected over 170 shark's teeth, where before they quarried this site, they only had 3.
But now we've got them from all different parts of the mouth, and looking at the teeth that we've collected so far, we potentially have 3 species now. Before we only had 1.
They've also found crocodilomore and dinosaur teeth from the past.
This is a dinosaur tooth that we collected back in, again, 2005. A really pretty dinosaur tooth, still partly in the rock. Eventually we'll clean this completely out of the rock so it's free.
But because this site was a lake, most of the findings are fish.
This is a fish called Lophianotus, and they've got these enamel-coated scales on the edge of on the sides of the body, so they're basically like chainmail fish. And the dinosaur teeth show evidence that they're wearing out the teeth, their teeth, because of the kinds of fish they're eating.
The Dinosaur Discovery Museum was built back in 2000 after dinosaur tracks were discovered on Johnson Farms.
So our site preserves a snapshot of a lake environment that's about 200 million years old. So this is a time in geologic time that we don't know a whole lot about it.
The building actually sits directly on top of the site, where paleontologists have worked the layers to clear them off.
We have very unique traces, like the sitting trace. So it's a dinosaur sitting in the mud. There's only about 10 of those in the whole world. And the swimming dinosaur tracks are amazing. We have the largest collection of dinosaur swim tracks in the whole world.
Hundreds of giant sandstone rocks are displayed inside, containing actual dinosaur tracks. One is from a meat-eating dinosaur called a grolitor that once roamed the area. A smaller replica of the grolitor is on display, which was actually the largest meat-eating dinosaur of its time. You can see where many of these ancient creatures left their footprints in the muddy surface.
This block behind me weighs about 50,000 pounds. And it is one single block. It is one single piece of sandstone that's just covered in dinosaur trackways. So you can trace the movement of one dinosaur walking across this block multiple times. Like, there's a lot of different trackways on this. This block was actually found on Washington County School District property.
With about 60,000 visitations each year, this small dinosaur discovery site museum is one of a kind. And of course, some of the most recent tracks and fossils from across the road are also now on display.
Most of these are swimming dinosaur tracks.
As you can see, each fossilized rock tells a story.
The dinosaur kind of stepped in and slid. So you can see these scale scratch marks showing the movement of the foot as it was stepping through the mud.
Visitors can actually view paleontologists working in the preparation lab uncovering these fossils.
This is an example of one of the kinds of animals that went extinct at the end of the Triassic. It's a phytosaur.
The work is tedious and time-consuming. Milner says it will take several years to go through and prepare each finding. And eventually, they will be able to pinpoint more accurately how old the rocks in this area really are. And of course, there will be more findings to come.
This was a float specimen, so it was collected off the hilltop out of those same fish beds, a partial fish skeleton. Of course, now we have probably a good 40 or 50 of these that were just collected this spring, and there's many, many more to come.
I think they maybe thought they were going to be finding more dinosaur tracks, and that's it. And instead we're finding new species of dinosaurs, new species of fishes. We probably have about 10 new species from 2 months of digging.
Milner said the recent quarry site will be fenced off to protect it, and the city may eventually expand Slick Rock Park with trails in the area. He said the city also plans to beautify the outside walls of the substation to keep it looking more natural.
But they're looking to build a nice decorative wall around it, so we're talking about incorporating durable dinosaur track blocks into the wall and sculptures of dinosaurs in the concrete around the wall, so it'll look pretty nice.
Milner hopes to eventually build a new museum across the road and call it Fossil Ridge. To find out more about this site, you can come visit the museum, or you can simply read about the discoveries in a book Milner co-published.
Jerry Harris and I, in 2015, published a book on the site called Tracks in Deep Time, the St. George Dinosaur Discovery Site at Johnson Farm. That's a nice, not very expensive book. It's only like 96 pages long. Jerry and I are talking about doing a second edition.
This is a perfect Eubrontes track, which is the Dilophosaurus-like dinosaur footprint.
In St. George, from the Dinosaur Discovery Site, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.